Let me tell you something most people never realize until loneliness starts to echo louder than their thoughts. Having no friends doesn't always mean you're alone. Sometimes it means you've outgrown the version of yourself that used to settle for shallow connections. You learn how to laugh without belonging, how to listen without being heard, how to exist in rooms that never really see you. But beneath that quiet distance isn't weakness. It's a kind of emotional intelligence that the world rarely understands. Psychology calls it social withdrawal, but it's often self-preservation, a shield built from disappointment, overstimulation, or the deep need for authenticity. Because when you've been misunderstood too many times, solitude stops feeling like punishment. It starts feeling like peace, the only place where your mind can finally rest. Psychologists have long said that human beings are wired for connection. Yet some people move through life feeling like satellites, orbiting around others but never fully belonging. According to Alfred Adler, every person carries a deep need for significance, to feel seen and valued. But when that need goes unmet early in life, isolation becomes not just a circumstance, but a defense mechanism. For many who grow up without steady emotional bonds, solitude isn't chosen, it's inherited. It's the quiet echo of being overlooked one too many times. When a child learns that love must be earned through silence, compliance, or perfection, they internalize an invisible script. If I stay small, I'll stay safe. Over time, this belief hardens into personality traits: introversion, emotional withdrawal, self-sufficiency. What looks like independence is often the residue of disappointment. Maslow called belonging one of our most basic human needs, right above safety. But when belonging feels dangerous or unpredictable, the mind rewires itself for survival. It learns to find comfort in solitude, because solitude never rejects you. As adults, these individuals often appear calm, introspective, and detached. They prefer deep conversations to small talk, solitude to crowds. Yet beneath that composure, there's often an unspoken exhaustion, the weight of carrying a heart that was never mirrored back. Many of them have tried connection before, but found it hollow. Conversations that skim the surface, friendships that fade when they start revealing who they really are. So they retreat, not because they hate people, but because they crave depth in a world that rewards performance. Fromm once said that modern loneliness isn't the absence of people, but the absence of meaning in relationships. In an age where connection is instant, but intimacy is rare, people who have no friends often feel invisible in plain sight. They scroll, they smile, they post, but none of it feels real. Their social world becomes like static, loud, bright, and empty. And so they withdraw, not as an act of rebellion, but of preservation. Psychologically, this withdrawal can be traced to a mix of attachment and self-image. John Bowlby's attachment theory explains that those who experienced inconsistent care in childhood often grow up unsure of whether people will stay. They oscillate between longing for closeness and fearing it. So when potential friends come close, their subconscious sends mixed signals, pushing them away before they can leave. It's not pride, it's protection. The mind tells them, if I isolate myself, at least I control the loss. But this control has a cost. Over time, loneliness begins to shape perception. Studies from cognitive psychology show that prolonged social isolation increases hypervigilance. The brain starts scanning for signs of rejection even when none exist. Neutral expressions feel cold. Silence feels hostile. Kindness feels suspicious. the world slowly becomes filtered through the lens of past wounds. What was once self-protection turns into self-sabotage. They stop replying. They stop trying. And soon, silence becomes a language they no longer know how to unlearn. Yet within that silence, something profound happens. Many people who live without friends develop an extraordinary level of self-awareness. With no one to perform for, they begin observing themselves deeply, their fears, their thoughts, their contradictions. They start to understand emotions most people run from. It's why they often write, paint, or think in ways that feel older than their years. Solitude becomes both their wound and their teacher. Adler believed that even in isolation, every person is guided by an inner purpose, a striving toward meaning. The lonely mind, though aching, is often searching for something purer than companionship, truth. Still, psychology reminds us that self-awareness without connection can become a trap. The longer one stays inside their mind, the harder it becomes to re-enter the world. The imagination fills the gaps where friendship should be. They rehearse conversations they'll never have, build worlds where they feel understood, and then quietly resent the real one for not matching up. That's why healing for people with no friends doesn't start with finding others. It starts with rebuilding trust in humanity itself. Therapists who work with social withdrawal often describe the first step as gentle exposure, not forcing connection, but allowing small moments of openness. Saying hello to a neighbor, asking a coworker a question, letting someone see your real reaction instead of your polite one. These moments rewire the nervous system to realize that connection doesn't always end in pain. Slowly, the wall begins to soften. But healing doesn't mean becoming extroverted or collecting people just to feel valid. It means learning that friendship doesn't require performance, that real connection happens when authenticity meets understanding, when you stop trying to be liked and start allowing yourself to be known. Loneliness, in its deepest form, is not a failure of character, it's an unhealed response to disconnection. Many friendless people carry empathy so deep that ordinary interactions feel overwhelming. They sense undercurrents others ignore. They notice tone, energy, intent. And because of that sensitivity, they often feel alien in a world that values noise over nuance. But that sensitivity isn't a curse. It's a form of intelligence. It's what allows them to connect meaningfully once they find the right people. Psychologist Viktor Frankl once said, "Those who have a why to live can bear almost any how." For the isolated soul, that why often becomes self-discovery. They may not have friends, but they begin cultivating a friendship with their own mind, questioning beliefs, observing thoughts, nurturing creativity. They learn to be present with their solitude without drowning in it. That's where transformation begins, not when the loneliness ends, but when it starts to make sense. Because the truth is, some people don't have friends not because they can't connect, but because they refuse to dilute their depth just to fit in. They are waiting, maybe unconsciously, for a kind of friendship that feels sacred, reciprocal, alive. And until that happens, they walk alone, not as victims, but as seekers. People who have no friends are often the ones who understand the human heart most, precisely because they've spent so long listening to their own. In the end, solitude isn't a sign of emptiness, it's a mirror reflecting everything that still needs to be understood. People who have no friends aren't broken, they're simply walking a quieter path towards self-awareness. The world may call it loneliness, but psychology calls it individuation. The moment you learn to belong to yourself first. And when that happens, friendships stop being a need for validation and start becoming a choice rooted in peace. Because sometimes, healing doesn't come from being surrounded. It comes from finally feeling whole in your own company. If you found meaning in this video, subscribe to Deepex, where where psychology meets self-awareness. Join our journey of deeper thinking, emotional healing, and understanding the unseen sides of the human mind.